Hello everyone. Today we're going to be talking about thermal mass for the greenhouse. For those of you who don't know, when I say thermal mass, I just mean adding something, in this case metal barrels filled with water, to your greenhouse that can absorb heat and slowly release it into the night to help keep your greenhouse warmer for longer. Up here in the mountains of Colorado, we're sitting at about 9,100 feet, or a little bit more than 3,000 meters for those of you who hate freedom. So the temperature swings between the day and the night are pretty brutal. One thing we have lots of though is sun, so the idea here is that by taking these metal barrels and painting them matte black and filling them with water, they absorb all that sunlight and heat up, and then as the outside temperature drops, the stored up heat in the water will slowly be released and extend that warmth, hopefully until like 2 in the morning if I'm lucky. From that point on, it'll be running an electric heater to compensate for the lack of heat until about 8 a.m. when it starts to warm up again. So I managed to source 5 55-gallon metal barrels from Facebook Marketplace for about $25 a pop, I think. If you're anything like me, I had trouble finding 55-gallon metal barrels, quote-unquote, and the solution turned out to be searching for honey barrels. Then I got search results out the fucking wazoo. In my case, these barrels were filled with food-grade, kosher, fucking wild-caught, grass-fed, organic, vegetable glycerin from Indonesia. Which is odd because you'd think that it would be halal coming from Indonesia, but nope, kosher. I went ahead and gave them a quick rinse with water and just a little bit of dish soap to try and get that leftover glycerin out of there, but I don't think some residue is really going to do any harm. If you're worried about algae growing like I was, you can put some copper sulfate in there. Just be careful of how you portion it out. I'd heard that pennies older than 1972 have enough copper to prevent the growth of algae, but as it turns out, the amount of time it would take for them to break down is so long that you'll probably just end up corroding the inside of the barrel. So, given that the barrels are matte black, and I still have a little dish soap left over in there, I'm hoping it just stays algae-free without any extra steps. After cleaning them out, I hit them with some 120 grit sandpaper. Doesn't have to be 120, just anything coarse enough to be able to scuff up the surface, so that way when you paint them later on, the paint can stick to the surface better. These barrels were actually in really great shape, but there were still some spots with rust, especially on the bottom of the barrel, so I wanted to make sure to take that down to the metal so it didn't get sealed in there after painting. For those more stubborn spots, I ended up using an electric sander. I was hoping that after spraying the labels with some WD-40 I could just sand those little bastards right off, but it ended up being a much more time-consuming endeavor. I think in the end I got most of it off, but then used some 90% isopropyl alcohol and a putty knife to fully remove the leftover residue. Once we're all scuffed up and ready to go, spent some time cleaning them up to get all the paint dust off. Used a 50-50 solution of distilled vinegar and water along with some steel wool. Periodically, I gave them a good wipe down with a towel. Not sure why this segment is so long. Probably don't need to watch me clean all of the barrels. One probably would have been enough for you to get the gist of things, but I guess we can just sit through a few more. It's kinda satisfying to see them start to shine. Now comes the most satisfying part, I think, painting them. It's my pops, by the way. They'll be showing up in more and more videos going forward. First things first was covering the garage with a bunch of drop cloths to protect whatever we could from the overspray. Turned out to be a great idea because that shit went everywhere. Damn near ruined my kicks from it. We ended up using Rust-Oleum in this case to try and protect the surface as much as we could. especially since they'd be getting wet in the greenhouse. Beginning, we took a couple heavy passes over the bottom of the barrels because we really wanted to make sure they'd be protected. I gotta say, it's not much better than hanging out with your dad in the garage, listening to Led Zeppelin, just fucking huffing Rust-Oleum straight to the dome. I feel like Tim Allen would be proud. Honestly, what better way to live your life than seeking the approval of Tim Allen from circa 1995? After taking some breaks to breathe oxygen and let the barrels dry, we hit the top side with a couple more coats. The barrels were roughly 23 to 24 inches in diameter, so we got some 12-inch flagstone for like $1.08 or something per piece from Home Depot. I wanted to keep the... Nope, other side. Yep, nice. I wanted to keep the barrels off the ground so the air could circulate around them better. Although in hindsight it would have been good to put some insulation under them as well so the ground and stone wouldn't utterly sap the heat out of the barrels. After some calculations, figured out I could evenly space everything 7 inches starting from the wall. The very first piece I laid down was exactly 7 inches, which is crazy because I've never seen 7 inches in my life. You tell me to lay down something 3.5 inches, I know exactly what that looks like, but 7 inches is fucking bonkers. I'd be mindful of trying to keep whatever base you use as level as possible. You're looking at over 260 pounds of water per barrel, so you don't want them being all wobbly. There were a couple on mine that weren't super level, so we'll see if it'll be an issue down the road. After that, it's just slowly hauling them in. Plan is to build a shelf over top of them, so I wanted to make sure the holes were facing out so they'd be easily accessible in the future, in case I needed to refill them up or drain some of them out. Also, it's probably worth noting that I'm filling these only to like 90% capacity, so that way during the winter when it does inevitably freeze, you're not going to have like too crazy of expansion. surprise of sorts. What do you think it's gonna be? The anticipation is killing me, and this shit is taking way too long. Oh my god, it's soil. Look at how delicious. Huge shout out to Rocky Top Resources in Colorado Springs, by the way. Being that a huge point of purpose for Twin Summit Tea is being plastic free, or at least as best I can. Filled up this cardboard box with their bulk garden mix, and they just gave me that shit for free. I guess when you have bulldozers loading up beds of people's pickup trucks, small cardboard box seems inconsequential, but I'm seriously super grateful to them. They were lovely people and really did me a huge favor. Final step is just filling them up. If you made it this far, I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you all in the next one.